Hey everybody, looking forward to tonight. We have Tim Hardaway Sr. joining us, talk about his playing career, talk to us about the transition after playing, as well as coaching and some of the trends that he may be seeing. So excited to have him on. Obviously, huge fan of his style of play, run TMC. Just one of those iconic legends. So, to be able to finish off the week with him is going to be awesome. And, overall, just a great week to be able to talk to coaches and a lot of stuff learned. Obviously, having Bill Burgos on, head strength coach for the Minnesota Timberwolves on Monday, LaRon Profit, former player, current pro scout, giving us some great knowledge of the game. And, yesterday having Coach Pannone on was really, really huge. Talk about his time overseas, making $700 a month in community college, $800 a month overseas, and now getting his shot at being a head coach for the Erie Bayhawks. So it was really cool to have him and talk about where he was, where he is now, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see him grow and do some big things in the league or wherever he decides to take it. So definitely excited about that. Next week, trying to plan out maybe a few more different coaches again, different people with different backgrounds, different types of expertise. So, with all that being said, it's been a fun process so far. If you guys have any questions, you can ask in the question box below for Tim. That'd be great. If you have any questions for me as well, please put them in now, and I'll see if I can get to a few of those before we end the session tonight. So again, appreciate you guys coming on here, being a part of this, and we'll let Tim get on here, and then we'll get to talking about his background. But definitely looking forward to some of your questions for him. Obviously his time with Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullin is iconic. Didn't realize till today that it was only 2 years that they were together as a group, which when you think about them, you figured they'd be together a lot longer. But those guys definitely made their mark felt in the league, and their style of play was awesome. So definitely looking forward to that. See what kind of questions we have here. Can't answer that one. Sorry. And Tim, if you're on here, you can just hit the request to join button on the bottom, icon on the bottom, and we'll get you on here as well. So we're really fortunate to have some former players on here as well, reaching out, touching base. So we're gonna get let's see what we got. So let's see. So I like having my Hofstra guys on here. Favorite win at Hofstra was probably had to be getting to the NCAA tournament, beating Delaware. Back to back was phenomenal for us. So. All right, so Tim, on the bottom there should be a request option, request to join. Since you're on here, it's one of the icons on the bottom. If I'm not explaining it right, maybe somebody can help him so we can get him on here. So, outside of getting to the tournament, in terms of big games, some of the ECAC Holiday Festival games were a lot of fun to be a part of. Winning those championships really set the tone for us. We'll get started.
What's up, Jake?
Hey, Tim, how you doing?
I'm all right. My daughter helped me get to join, so.
Yeah. That's the kids. They know how to do this inside and out.
They know how to do all that stuff.
Last week too, so I appreciate. Yeah, for sure. They're growing up with it, but I appreciate you taking the time. When finally told some people that you were going to be on here. There was a bunch of stories coming out and different people that I think we have some connections to in one way or the other. So it's pretty cool. Chris Mullin, in his last year in the league, I got a chance to work out with him when I was playing at Hofstra in New York. He was back in New York training. Wow. And
I know
hearing some stories of you guys.
I know he took you through a hellified workout.
Yeah, it was killer. I put my guys through one of those drills now, and they think I'm trying to kill them. Just one. I'm not talking about the workout itself. So
I know they're not ready for that. They're not ready for that.
No, all the runnings at half court, full court, finishing a one-on-one, full court and all that stuff. I mean, I know with you guys love to hoop together, play together, compete. It was a different time, in terms of, that aspect of it now. You were coaching recently, and, sports science is becoming a part of the game, I was just curious from your standpoint, what do you think about, the way it's going down now? Do you think we're giving guys a little bit of a cop-out with, the work, or do you think it's something that we can implement but just got to do a better job implementing it?
I think we just got to do a better job implementing. These guys, they grew up different, they've been playing a lot of basketball, and they just be out there a long time. You have to make it fun for them, and you have to make it where they're getting something out of it, and you got to keep them on the court for like about 45 minutes to an hour. Chris, myself, Mitch Richmond, Rod Higgins, Mario Ellie, and all those guys, man. We used to be on the court. The coach had to come and tell us to get off the court. Like, hey, man, y'all got to get off the court. We've been on the court too long. We used to play 1-on-1 full court, 2-on-2 full court, 3-on-3 full court. And we came up with a rule where if you steal the ball, I steal a ball at half court, I had to wait until my teammates get across half court before I could make a layup or before I could shoot the ball. And if they wasn't down there before I could shoot the ball, then I had to wait for them to come down, and then we'll pass around and get a better shot. But now these guys, they want to shoot, they want to work out, but you just have to make it fun for them, and you have to make it where they are getting a good workout out of being there for about 45 minutes to an hour. And I work kids out 45 minutes, and I tell them, go hard and imagine that you're going against the best player or somebody that you want to beat or want to kill, and just imagine them in front of you, and you going at them hard, and you doing your move hard in game time situations, and it'll be easy for you in games.
For sure. Another guy that actually reached out to me today is Speedy Claxton. That was my college teammate. We were in the backcourt together, and he said he wore the number 10 because of you. And I've known Speedy for years, and I never knew that. He reached out to me today, and I could see some of his shiftiness with the between cross and some of that stuff come out. I'm like, damn, yeah, I see that. So it was pretty cool to hear him talk about you. And I know a lot of us coming up, we respected the hell out of your game, and obviously Run TMC was special, for you to come out of UTEP and do what you did even as a rookie, going into that. I thought, the way you guys played under Nelly's system and stuff, I mean, guys don't talk about that enough. I think that was really a little bit of what we're seeing now, but I don't know if you guys get enough credit for that.
Well, the way the game is evolved right now is the way Don Nelson pictured it back in 89, 90, 91. Even when he was coaching with the New York Knicks, point forward, center forward, point center, bringing up the ball, initiating offense. And it just kind of threw a wrench in the other team's strategy of trying to guard us. How am I a center going to stick this other center that's making plays and that's initiating offense, and how am I going to cover dribble handoff? How I'm going to cover down screens when he pass and then screen away. So it the way it is played, Nelson had a vision back then, man, that nobody else envision that it would happen today. And that's the way we was playing. You know, it wasn't chaotic it for us, but it was chaotic for the other team because they really didn't know how to guard us. They didn't have a scheme to guard us. They didn't have a scheme to play us. And if you went small with us, then you was playing in our hands. Then you was like we was like, oh yeah, we got them now. You know, they gonna start running and gunning. They gonna start shooting shots that they normally don't shoot. They're going to start playing the way that they normally don't play. And the guys that normally gets the basketball isn't going to get the basketball, and they're going to be upset. So the way the game is played now, man, we had fun playing it back then. It's just the rules are different. Back then, you know, if we had the same rules, I'm talking about the defensive rules, and could double team the ball away from the ball, it would have helped us tremendously. But we couldn't do that, and we tried to work with the rules and tweak the rules a little bit. But sometimes we got caught with illegal defense, and that hurt us. And going small, that hurt us because we didn't have, you know, we couldn't rebound the ball. But man, I'm telling you, when we was playing, how much fun these guys are having today, that's how much fun we was having back then.
Right. Nice. I know at one point in your career, you got twice, you shot it 7 times a game from 3. You know, again, I don't know how popular that was, but you were doing it, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. Was that something that you were aware of in that season, saying, you know what, I'm going to pull it a little bit more from deep, or was it something post-injury that you were just seeing, you know, guys couldn't guard you, they were backing up, so the 3 ball was there for you?
Well, you know what? It was like I knew they couldn't guard me. They were scared of me going to the hole, making a play, my team, or making a layup for myself. But, you know, as they bagged up off me, I was always able to come up and pull up and shoot a 3. So when I you know, got real comfortable with it and my coaches got real comfortable with it, if you come up, then I go right past you. And if you give me a couple of feet, couple of inches, and we needed that shot, or if I was trying to break your back and go up 10 and put the game out of reach, then I shoot it. But man, you know, it was just something that that I had in my repertoire, the long 3 that was dangerous for me. And you know, I wasn't thinking about shooting more 3s, but it just happened to be that way because, you know, sometimes the defense, as a defensive guy, you try to bait people into doing stuff that you're not comfortable in doing. But I was comfortable in shooting anytime in the game. You know, if it was the first quarter, if it's the fourth quarter, I was comfortable with shooting it, and I was confident in shooting it, and I knew I was going to make it. So, you know, that was just in my repertoire. So when teams were trying, or guys was trying to bait me into it, I was comfortable in doing it. And then I'm making shots. So it's like, okay, I got you both ways. So I wasn't concentrating on it. It just happened that way. And you know, guys now are shooting 10, 12, 15 threes a game. I was looking at my son. One game, he shot 15 threes. I'm like, you shoot 15 threes? That was unheard of in the early days, man. That was your teammates walk up to you and say, hey, man, hey, you know, you shot 15 threes last night. I think you could cut that down in half, you know, or cut that down to 3 or 4 and just try to get somebody else involved. But man, that's the way it is now. And it's exciting, man. You know, you come down, you make a 3, and then you make another one, then you make another one. You on fire.
Yeah, it's true. It's you know, my time working with Kemba, you know, we talked a lot about one was the crossover. You know, we worked tough. Yeah, and you know, you were somebody that we talked about a lot. Part of, you know, what I studied when I watched you was where you placed the ball in your crossover. You had a natural shiftiness to you. Your handles were on point. But every time you crossed that ball, it never hit the midline. It was always across the body. You know, you would shift it, it would land, and then you'd be picking it up, and your shoulder was already dipped. It was almost, you know, they couldn't do anything with it. So what we tried to do with Kemba, he didn't have the same physicality you did, but what he would do is he'd hit that into the step back, or he'd hit that with the pullback. So as soon as you tried to cut him off, you would just stop on the dime, and then he had what he wanted after that. But, we would talk about that specifically. When did you know that was just something like, I'm setting you up? Like, as much of the move was great, how much of it was the setup for you, before that? Because you would hit him with the between and blow by him, raise up on the shot, and then all of a sudden you'd hit him, and it was like, you can't stop it. So how much was it the percentage of the setup and the percentage of the move?
When I was growing up, 70s, 80s, I used to watch Isaiah. That was my idol. I used to watch him in high school and college from Chicago. And we always, in those days, we was always taught to be in this box. And you didn't want to dribble outside this box because you would exert so much energy. So in this box, I would have to do a move to get past you and straight line to the basket. So if I could deke you one way and go the other way and get my left shoulder past your left shoulder, then I'm past you in a box. So when I used to work on my crossover or work on a move, you never seen me go out of this box, because if I went out of this box, that'd take me out of the direction as the rim. So I used to use my shoulders and your shoulders, the defender's shoulders, to create this box where I could get you going one way and cross you over another way. And if you try to steal a basketball, you will always hit my knee. And if you hit my knee, your fingers, you break a finger, you jam a finger. So I always put it below my knee and bring it on the other side and get past you. Okay, even if I was going left, I'm in that same box where I'm just getting right past you with my right shoulder past your right shoulder, and I'm in that box. I'm never outside that box. If I'm outside that box, when we was growing up, we called that you was out of control. So we used to use being in this box, under control, full speed, slow down chopping, and get yourself together under control so you get past the man and be under control in that box, straight line to the basket where I have you on my shoulder, where I can lay you up for and one, or if a guy comes, I could pass to the corner, or I get him around and pass to the other corner. So that's how we used to, create space and know how to get past a person. But if we was out of that box, we was out of control and we was exerting too much energy. So that's how I learned how to get past my man and make it simple and easy and not using so much energy.
That's the biggest thing. I think nowadays a lot of guys don't have like go-to moves. A lot of guys have a big skill set, but they don't know what to go to when it's butter situations and things like that. That's the first question I ask is, what's your go-to? You look at the best players; they have known skill sets, but they're so great that people can't stop them. That's the biggest thing to me. I think with some guys today, they just don't know what to go to. And I'm not talking about the top tier guys. I'm talking about those guys that are hovering maybe an all-star type situation, and I think that they have yet to figure that out. So that's big time.
And you absolutely right. And how you get your go-to move is you play one-on-one, because it's only you and that man. And if it's tied up and if it's game point, and if you don't have a go-to move that you go to and you miss, then he can have a go-to move and it'll be game. And you'd be like, man, I just lost the game because I don't have a go-to move. I always had a step back. Right. Always had a crossover. And then I always had going left or going right for the layup. So I always had a go-to move, and I worked on that go-to move. A lot of guys don't understand. You got to work on these moves. If you're going to work out and go through drills, you got to go through drills like it's game time situation. And so when it's in a game, you're not affected by it, and you under control and doing the move.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to touch on some of the things. I know people got some questions. One of them for me is, I know you guys only had 2 years together, run TMC. For those of you who don't know, Mitch, Richmond, Chris Mullin, just 2 years. What do you think it would have taken for you guys to get over the hump? Like, what would be one player that you think you could have added to that roster that would have fit that style, that could have said, if we had him, we probably could have beaten the Lakers after we beat San Antonio. Just somebody maybe it was a big that just can run, that can maybe give you some shooting, but also can defend and rebound. Is there somebody out there like that?
You know what? We had a guy named Alton Lister, all right? He was coming from the Seattle Supersonics. He had a great year the year before that, and we just signed him. He was a center, 7 feet, and he was agile. I think the first game of the season, because he was going to help us offensively with rebounds and a guy that can go to down low to make some shots and make the defense honest a little bit when we was running out of gas or we needed somebody down low to post up. But when he got hurt with an Achilles tear, he never came back the same. He never came back the way that we thought that he was going to come back. And that kind of hurt us because that was going to be the guy that was going to play against Sam Perkins or against Vlade Divac in the playoffs. Or against a big in the playoffs, instead of putting Mitch Richmond on Vlade Divac or Chris Mullin on Sam Perkins, which wasn't going to work, So he was going to help us out, but that's the only guy. That's the only kind of player we needed, was a physical big that could clog up the middle, block shots, rebound the basketball, and play good defense on the center. Because centers back then, you had Hakeem Olajuwon, you had Sam Perkins, you had Derek McKee down low, you had Rick Smith, you had centers, down Karl Malone. You had centers that was down low banging and making plays at the basket, and we needed him. But when he went down with an Achilles tear, that really hurt us, and we never was able to recover from that because he didn't come back the way we thought he was going to come back, and we had to play differently at that particular point. We had to put Mitch on bigs. We had to put Mullin on bigs. I had to switch off, and then we had to go down and double. It was just too much for us, and at the end of games, at times we just ran out of gas.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now you ended up having obviously a great career there. The second act for you was Miami. Right, so you go to Miami, you go there. Now after a major injury, you lose a whole season. You go there, become a 2-time All-Star. Now you get to link up with Zoe. That 1-2 combo where you have a big and yourself out there. That was a tough combination. You guys get to the Eastern Conference Finals. One thing I wanted to ask you: what was it like playing Chicago, being a guy from Chicago in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Man, I can't describe how bad I wanted to play Chicago Bulls in Chicago in the playoffs. And my dream came true. And, we just didn't have enough. We just didn't have enough, man. We always was coming off injury, Zoe, Mashburn, Vashawn Leonard. We never was whole at the right time going into the playoffs and making a run in the playoffs. But the Chicago Bulls. I always tip my hat off to them. Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, and the supporting cast. They was tough to play against, man. And once Mike got that ball, it was hard to stick him. He put that ball. No, every team that played them in the playoffs knew once Mike got that ball, you tried to make him do something different, you couldn't. He did what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it, and he made shots the way he makes shots. And, and the Bulls were just the Bulls. They were just tough, grinded, playoff team that knew how to play it in those particular games and knew how to win in those particular games. And but going back home, man, I enjoy every minute playing against the Bulls, playing in front of my family and friends. And I tried to go out there and win every game, and so I wouldn't hear their mouths. But each summer I had to hear their mouths and hear them in my ear. Y'all never beat the Bulls. Y'all don't have the right stuff. But it was exciting, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Being with Alonzo, Mash, Sean, Dan Marley, P.J. Brown, Ike Alston, all those guys, man, we had a great time together. We had a great run together. We had a great staff with Pat and Stan and Bob McAdoo, and it was just great, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And a lot of people think that when I went to the Heat, that Pat re-innovated or resurrect my career. No, man, I was always ready. I knew I could play for Pat Riley. I wish, I tell you this, I wish I was on that team when they went to the finals against Houston Rockets. I definitely would have made some shots with the Knicks. I definitely would have made some shots. I guarantee you that. But, man, it was great staff. And, we did all we could do. And I wouldn't change a thing, man. Wouldn't change.
That's big time, man. And you see the Pat Riley influence now in Miami, right? I mean, just when people talk culture, I think it's more about standards. He had certain standards that he had for his players, and it's no different for his coaches, and that trickles down to the players. And you kind of know who a Miami Heat type guy is, and what they're looking to fill that void. And it's pretty cool to see that, what they've done with Spoelstra and giving him the reign to just say, hey, you're our coach. We had a rough year. We didn't make the playoffs, but you don't hear any rumblings of like he's going to get fired this year. It's like every other place. But in 2.5 years, it's a wrap. So
no, that's Pat's boy. That's Pat's boy. That's my guy. Miami Heat lifer. We've been there through thick and thin. I've been knowing Spo for a long time, and I always talk to Spo when he was our film guy. And used to give me my film tape so I could watch, and he used to show me how to get better then. And I used to study it and got better from it. But they do a great job out there. And if you're not tough-minded, you can't go play in Miami Heat's culture. You got to be tough-minded. You got to go out there and be tough-minded. You got to ready to grind. You got to be in shape. And you got to love the game of basketball. If you don't love the game of basketball, don't go to Miami, because you're not going to excel. You got to love the game. I love the game, and the guys around me, we love the game. That's why we excel.
It's amazing, too, because you talk about Los Angeles, New York, Miami with Pat. Stylistically, he had different types of players and still had success in every arena that he was in. A lot of that was that mindset that you're talking about. You could see the toughness. I'm a New York guy, so obviously I was like big fan of what they brought back then, and their style of play, but it was way different than what they were doing in LA, and so just to be able to adjust your style but keep the standards the same is super impressive, and I much respect to Pat Riley. He's one of the greatest, so that's big time. I know, the biggest thing that we talk about with a lot of ex-players is what the transition looks like. What was it like for you after basketball? That time frame between, playing and then actually coming back to the NBA and coaching.
Well, I was dealing with my son, my family, my wife, my kids, but my son, he kind of put the passion back into me. I always played the game, but when he started really playing and his career started taking off in high school, then in college, man, it got me back into the frame of coaching, the frame of playing, the frame of kind of telling him what he needs to do out there on the court to tell other people how to play and stuff. So I had to step back and tell myself, I'm not playing. I got to let him learn from it. But, man, it was just and then reliving my college days through his college days, them going to the Final Four, them going to the championship game. I thought I was playing. I thought I was getting ready. My wife was like, yo, you need to calm down. I'm like, look, this is the championship. Yeah. This is the NCAA championship. Y'all don't know. I'm playing right now. I'm going out here. I'm on the court with my son. My mind is in his mind. And my body is not there, but my mind is in his mind. And I'm trying to make him think how I'm thinking and how to play. So, that just resurrected my whole career again and got me hungry again And my wife like, you sweat. I'm like, I'm playing, you know. So the transition from not playing, from playing to not playing was tough because I couldn't go out there and physically do what I was able to do when I was playing. But just living it through him and watching him play and what he's doing now and how he, how he's playing before the, everything happened. Man, it was easy. It was easy, and I was and I'm cool, and then coaching, just staying gave me opportunity to help him coach, to be an assistant coach, and I learned a lot. Believe me, I learned a lot. What goes into coaching, what they need to do to prepare the guys to play the game, mentally prepare them, physically prepare them, get them ready to understand what type of games and game plans we trying to make them follow. I commend them coaches, man. I commend the coaches because as a basketball player, you really don't know what coaches do until you get into coaching. It's tough. It's really tough, and you got to get these guys to understand what you're trying to do and what you're trying to make them do, and to help them win games. And so I think, Stan, and that took me, that made me understand and help young guys today on how to approach the game on a coaching aspect and how to prepare for the game on a coaching aspect. So I talk to players now. I talk to young guys now, and I try to make them understand it's a lot that goes into this game, and you really have to want it. You really have to love it and want to go out there and compete and want to go out there to win for your team, your coaches, your school, your franchise. And we had a lot of good guys. We had a lot of good guys that wanted to win.
Yeah, that's big time. Was there anything that surprised you about coaching? Anything technically that you were like, damn, I got to learn sports code, or anything in that realm in terms of like that stuff? 'Cause I know for me, I had my own business for over 10 plus years, training players, and that's how I got to know a lot of these guys from New York before I got into the league. And when I came in, for me, it was different because I didn't play in the league. The terminology and the schemes were all new to me. I joined Jacques Vaughn's staff, who had already been together for 2 years in Orlando. And I came in there, and he was talking all the San Antonio stuff, the longitudinal line and the up-down side. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. They had specific rules for like Corver rules and all these things, schemes that they had already in place. So for me, I kept saying, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I need a dictionary of terms. So I better get with a video coordinator ASAP and learn how to start cutting this film down for my guys. And, the other thing is, I said I want to ask an engaging question. I'm not going to have any answers for nobody. I'm just going to ask a question that maybe gets us talking about something, so I can show I know a little bit of something, that I'm watching. But it was a whole new world for me. But I know for some people that come in from playing, that it's like, damn, like I didn't know, film wise, I had to cut this much stuff up or sort this out the way this needs to be done. So no. Every team has different terminology, but it's the same. Baseline drive is baseline drift. They might call it, if the guy goes baseline, you shoot down to the corner. But it's different terminology, but it's the same once you pick up on it. And you're right, because some ball players, if they get traded from a different team, they come in and you might say, okay, Ray Allen, that's an old shit guy. Old shit. When he catch the ball, old shit, he gonna make it. No, that means that, you stay on him. Don't let him catch the ball. Make sure that one guy's on him. We're not going to switch out. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're going to lock and trail with one guy. If he falls down, he's going to say, help, help, help. Somebody going to go and pick up the shooter. So that's another term that you have. But everybody has to be on the same page. And you have to put, that's why you have shoot-arounds.
and walkthroughs, because you want to make sure everybody's on that same page that understand. And you have to, and the coaches, they coach from game to game. They can't see, you know, if we play in Chicago tonight and then Denver tomorrow night, they got to concentrate on Chicago tonight, and you have to get him ready for Denver as assistant coach. If that's your scout, you have to get him ready and caught up with what they like to do, what they don't like to do, how we got to guard them, how we got to pressure this guy, what defense we're going to use on pick and rolls and everything. Because each game, it switches up. And the good teams, they don't switch up. They're not going to deviate. They're going to stay with what they have. The bad teams, you got to switch up because your personnel is not as good as everybody else's personnel. So you have to switch up defenses from game to game, and you have to go double team from game to game. So that's why the assistant coaches are so important. So important. So when you give him that sheet after that game so he can read for the next game and be prepared that next night, he knows that he understands the game plan and he's going to hear it and he likes what you're doing. So that's why you're there to make his job easy, because night in and night out, he has a tough job. The coach has a tough job. He got 9,000 different things on his mind. Who I'm going to play, who I'm not going to play, who is going to be good tonight. This guy got hurt, so he can't play tonight. So it's a lot of different things that's going into it. But as a coach and a coaching staff, everybody has to be on the same page, and you can't deviate. Good teams never deviate. They always play the same game plan all the time. The not so good teams, they have to deviate here and there. Sometimes they get away with it. Sometimes they don't. But that's the ups and downs of a team and the coaching staff.
Yeah, no, the big trend I'm seeing lately now is three-quarter court zone pressing, zone after timeouts, right? That's another way, because you're saying we can't guard this one-on-one, or if I'm guarding Hardaway and zone pick and roll, I don't want to have to see that at the end of the game. So is there something that we can do that maybe takes them out of that action, because we know it's going to hurt us, something that may cause a little confusion or maybe gets them in the shot clock around 13, whatever the case may be. And, even last year, I remember seeing a lot more zone. And then this year, it's like, wow, these people are really going to it a lot more consistently that we have in our scouting reports. I do a lot of the offensive game planning with the ATOs. And I'm always talking to our guys about, hey, you better expect this after timeouts or this after free throw situations, because they're going to try to junk up the game, and for point guards to be on point with that stuff, especially when you got young guards, because all of a sudden, you're used to man-to-man and certain coverages, they're going to drop or this or that, and all of a sudden that happens. It's like you better be able to get guys where they need to be on the court, and lead that squad, within a split second. And then so this year we got better, I think, as a staff, having design plays for man-to-man and zone 2-3 that can mirror both. So, hey, we're going to run this action regardless if it's man-to-man or zone, knowing that the team is going to come out in 2-3 after that. But I think we're going to see more and more of that, going down the line because of all the small ball, teams that are switching everything. Teams are getting better at bumping the post, with somebody that can guard a little bit. You figure, okay, one-on-one in the post now, as opposed to when you were playing, like you said, you guys weren't shooting as many threes to offset the one-on-one matchups in the post. So, it's interesting to see the dynamic, and I always say to guys, like, whoever could really hoop, in the 80s and 90s can really hoop now. It's just, everything has changed, from the way they call the game to the way the game is being played. Jordan would have been on the line 30 times a game if he was playing right now. I mean, he probably would have averaged over 50 a game the way the game is called right now. So, it's just fun to see and talk to guys when you get there. But I definitely wanted to hit you with a couple of things. I know we got a lot of questions from everybody before we get kicked off this thing. One is who were the top guards that you felt like on a night in, night out basis were coming for you, that you were like, all right, this is going to be a tough matchup tonight defensively. And then the other question is, who are two underrated guards, that you played against, that offensively that you had to guard, you were like, this guy can hoop, that maybe doesn't get the credit?
Man, I always had to go against John Stockton in the West. John Stockton, Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, Kevin Johnson, Terry Porter, those type of guards, night in and night out. And, it was just, it was tough. You know that you was going to have a dog fight on your hands. You know that it was going to be tough, mentally tough. We was going to go at each other. And you trying to put your team in position to win. And, it was tough, man. It was tough, especially at those particular times, because you can hand check. I tell folks this now: when we passed the ball and we went through the lane, we had to run through the lane like a football player, because if not, you get hit and checked all up in your chest and your gut and all that. So you had to watch yourself and going through the lane. But it was these guys like Rod Strickland was underrated, man. He was tough to go against. Who else? Terrell Brandon. He was tough to go against. Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson and Mark Price. We had a lot of great. Kenny Anderson. Yeah. Man, we had just a lot. Nick Van Exel when he came in. We just had a lot of great guards back then that just come in, and you just had to just, lace up your shoes and know that game was going to be a tough game. And it was just fun to play against them, man, because, they was like me. They could take over the game at any time, any place, and they can make shots anytime, any place, at any time in the game and anywhere on the court. So it was just fun, man. It was really fun to play against those guys. And a lot of them was underrated too. So especially Rod Strickland. Rod Strickland and Kevin Johnson, they don't give enough praise. They was definitely underrated.
Yeah, Kevin Johnson was.
You there?
People don't realize he was there when Nash came down, and we couldn't take that spot from KJ. I mean, that guy, again with his explosiveness, the pull-up game, was phenomenal. It was there was some good basketball, man. That's awesome. Let me see what the people want to ask. Let's see.
Hold on one second. Let me get. Oh. The dog got to go out. Sorry about that. My dog had to go out.
Good. Let's see. So Brian Huber, Coach Huber wants to know what your thoughts are on the 0-step rule. Was that something that existed when you played? I think he's talking about, the way Harden manipulates a lot of the dribble, steps, those kinds of things. I mean,
I'm going to tell you this. We played against a guy that brought in a Euro step, or we played with him that brought in a Euro step in '89. Sharunas Marciulionis. Okay? Yeah. We thought he traveled all the time. We thought that he drug his feet. He traveled. He, a Euro step here, went over here and made a left-hand layup, made a right-hand layup. We in practice like, that's a travel, man. I don't care what nobody say. That's a travel. But the refs in the game never called it. And he was. If you look at it, he wasn't traveling. And so I get what they saying. Sometimes, yeah. I mean, in the referee's eyes, they looking at different things. And when you look at somebody, when he steps one way and then takes three steps back to his right, that is a travel. Okay. Right. A travel. I'm gonna tell you this: when they first catch the ball, LeBron, Harden, Westbrook, Kevin Durant, when they catch the ball, they catch it and then they take 2 or 3 steps when they catch it to get their pivot foot. They don't call that. Right. And that's a travel right out the gate, but they never call it. The referees never call it because they say they don't have the ball. They do have the ball, all right, but it's a stigma. Sometimes it looks like a travel and it's not a travel, sometimes it is a travel, but the referees are not going to call it because they're going to say, oh, he just did that, a couple plays down. No, he didn't. It's a different move. But so the referee is very hard, and it's a bang bang play. But I understand, because when I was playing, we used to do the same thing. So I understand what the ref is saying, and how it looks on TV and how it looks in person. But some of it is traveling, some of it isn't, and you just got to trust the referee. I mean, but I mean, we looking at it differently. The ref's looking at 5 different things. All right, you could be looking at the ball, but you're looking at a play over here where this guy might, chuck somebody and throw him out of bounds, even though that's supposed to be that ref's call. But you saw it at the corner of your eye. It's bang bang situation, and the players are moving. So it's kind of tough. But yeah, I do think that Harden, that is a travel, but he gets away with it. Michael Jordan got away with a lot of fouls. A lot of guys got away with a lot of stuff. So that's the way the game is. You got to adjust to it.
That's funny. Now I know another good question. A lot of New York guys don't want to play for the Knicks for various reasons. Being home,
being at home,
being a Chicago guy. Chicago, did you ever think, or even now, would you have wanted to play for the Bulls, or do you think it would have been too much of a headache?
You know what? I wanted to play for the Bulls, and that would have been great. But thinking about it, when I wanted to, I was like, you know what? It's going to be a headache. Everybody going to want tickets. Everybody going to want to come over, hang out, watch games, go out to eat. My family going to want me to do this. I'm not going to have enough time to rest. I would have loved to, but it's a headache. It is a headache. And you have to just put your priorities where they need to be, and you would have had to, disappoint some people. And I'm happy that I didn't come to Chicago and play, because it would have been tough for me. Definitely would have been tough, but I would have loved it. I wanted to badly, and I wanted them to draft me, but they got Stacey King, Stacey King, and they got B.J. Armstrong before me. So I was like, all right, fine. But I thought I had a chance to go, but it didn't happen. But it was a good thing that it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, you see, D Rose do his thing. Chicago guy being able to come through and
but it was hectic for him. 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 Randy Brown played there too. It was hectic for him. It was hectic for him.
Yeah, I don't know. People don't realize that aspect of the game. When you realize, all the people that are around, the people that feel like you owe them something, for one reason or another. They bought you a burger one time, and now they want tickets to every game and BBL. It's like,
and the expectations.
It's too much.
And the expectations. And the expectations of, Tim, you got to shoot the ball better. You need to shoot the ball, this and that. And then I would have been like, look, we got Michael Jordan. We got Scottie Pippen. We got Horace Grant, we got these guys, So why do I need to shoot the ball? I just need to shoot the ball when I'm open. That's all. But nah, that would have been a different aspect too.
Yeah, for sure. There's maybe 2 more questions before we let you go. We got. What do you think about load management? Is that in terms of?
I hate it. Yeah. I hate it. If you're not hurt, you shouldn't be load managing. Jay Murat. He I think it was like his 5th game into the season. He's a rookie. They was like, he rest. I said, rest? He's a rookie. What he resting for?
Right.
I think unless you hurt, I say this right now. Kawhi Leonard, he is hurt. He has I think a degenerative quad muscle, that if you overplay him and if you overpractice him, he won't be able to play. Okay, so I think yes, he needs load management. Okay, and everybody understand that. All right, but somebody that's not hurt, Just go out there and play. This is what you live for, to play each and every night in front of your fans and give your fans the pleasure of watching you. So back, in the 80s, if you take off or if you go on IR, you had to not play for 5 games, not 5 days, 5 games. So people didn't want to be on IR for 5 games unless they was legitimately hurt. So these guys today, load management, I don't believe in it. I'm paying you $35 million to load manage you. I think you should. I think I would load manage you. Yo, I'm going to play you, 24 minutes or 30 minutes, not 38 minutes or not 40 minutes. That's how I think the coaches should be. But load man, you get the day off. Day off, they don't even practice now. That's a day off. So why am I going to give you an additional day off on game day? No, I think it's a lot of hogwash, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I think it affects with the mindset of guys nowadays. It's almost like they're looking for a way out to make it easier to the road to success. Nobody that I know that ever became great was managing themselves to say, maybe in 3 years from now, they were talking about, I'm working now to be great tomorrow, be great the next day, and they just kept fighting for it. And I think that's making a softer culture. I guess that's the best way I can put it. It's becoming softer, where guys are looking for that way out, and it should be what we're talking about, like the greatest. They work their butts off. You never hear about somebody saying they manage their way, manage their way to being the greatest of anything in life. So I agree with you.
If you want to be, sure. Everybody want to be like Michael Jordan. Everybody want to be like Kobe Bryant. Everybody want to be like LeBron James. None of them took load manage out off. They like, okay, I'm gonna take this day off. Now, if you told Kobe Bryant, yo, man, we're gonna give you a day off, Kobe like, okay, try to sit me on the bench.
Right. And super talented to begin with. You know what I mean? So if you're somebody that doesn't have a 6'6", 40-inch vertical, and you're not putting that time, and you're doing less than those guys, you have no shot. It's not even close. So I'm with you. I'm done with that whole talk. So just in terms of the rule changes, I know I'm hearing a lot of things that Commissioner Silver wants to do now. For the game, you saw the way the All-Star game was played, talking about an in-season tournament. Some of those things. What are your thoughts on that? I know some people are basketball purists, where they say, we're taking with the game a little bit too much now. What if we put in a 4-point, line, because guys are shooting it way deeper, those kinds of things. I mean, what are your thoughts on some of the things that they may be talking about down the line next 10 years?
With the rule change with the defense, I thought that I didn't like it at all, but now it wore on me, and I like it. I like the defensive rule change where you could double this, and you creating somebody else to make plays on the team, and I like that rule change on the defensive side. 4-point shot, no. I don't agree with that. I think that with the what did you say? What was that?
Talk about in-season tournament. What they do in FIBA.
Okay. Now, in-season tournament, no. The first 8 in each, or the first 16. The first 16 that has good records, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, and I think that will get people to play, or teams to understand game plans, and to put more pressure on the teams to come out and play better, and to try to get that 1 through 16 seed in the playoffs. I like that rule.
Yeah.
I think that should fly. I wouldn't like, I love the way they did the All-Star game. I think that was beautiful. I think that was outstanding. I think that was the best All-Star game in the last 20 years. I really do think so.
Yeah.
I think I was so engaged in it. I'd never been engaged like that in the last 20 years since I was playing. The way they was out there, understanding, the score, understanding what needs to be done to reach that goal. And then the refs let them play. They let them play like it was 1989, 1990, Chicago Bulls against Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks against the Miami Heat. That's the way the referees let them play. And those guys wasn't used to that.